All right, so I'm gonna walk you guys through how to kind of set up a face on the mug, giving you guys rough proportions for everything. What I'm gonna show you is a totally neutral face. You do not, when you go to sculpt, want a neutral expression in the end. So like the slides, the very last slide here shows the neutral expression on the left, expressive expression on the right. We want to push the features because the neutral one's boring, it's lame. It's like, yeah, you did a face great, cool, but like, I don't feel anything. So we want to feel something when we look at it, even if that feeling is fear. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set up our mug sketch, but with a cylinder. So we'll start with drawing a cylinder, which is just oval shape there. Bring lines down. Round bottom. So you want to make sure that when you're drawing the cylinder for your mug, that you have that opening on the top, round on the bottom. We don't see the inside of it because we're sculpting it. This would be the opening here, so I'm just going to do a little bit of shading just for you guys to visually see it a little bit better. There we go. We got a cylinder. Wow, such amazing. You're going to be drawing a lot of cylinders here. The next big thing is the handle. With the handle, you can have fun designing your handle however you want. You don't want the handle to go above the top of the mug. Otherwise, when you set it upside down, it's not going to be level. Same thing, you don't want the handle to go below the bottom of the mug. You want to keep it within the cylinder itself. Now, I want you guys to consider something before you start drawing your handles. I have a mug today. I'm right-handed, so I hold my mug like this typically. On this mug, I see some writing.
You do that too?
Yeah, well, depends. If I'm left-handed, I see this entire other design on this particular mug. So when you guys are adding your handles, you want the face to appear outwards. So if this is the design, it's made for a left-handed person, this mug. So if you're right-handed, face would be there. You want to draw it on this side. If you're left-handed, face here, you want to draw the handle on this side. Otherwise, you're running into the issue of drinking out of a mug, all of a sudden there's a nose on your chin, feels awkward, everything terrible. So again, right-handed is this way, left-handed that way. Makes a difference. So I'm right-handed, like I said, so my handle is gonna be over here. And I can play with the shape, the look of it. I'm gonna do something kind of just a little bit fancy. Doesn't matter. We'll learn kind of how to make comfortable handles when we get there. But for now, we're just playing around with the look. So right-handed on this side, left-handed on this side. And feel free to get ahead of me at any point because I'm mostly showing for people who've never drawn a face before or have never done it in a real setting. What's that? Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so to set up the face on the mug, I want to put some guidelines. I'm going to put a line directly down the center of the cylinder. So vertical directly down the center. And then horizontal either directly in the center or just slightly above. I'm going to do slightly above. This is going to be where the eyes end up, because we don't have the top of the head. We don't have to deal with it being directly in the center. I'm going to demo a neutral expression. This neutral expression is just going to show you guys how typically a human face is set up so that you can push it and really play with that expressive part afterwards. I'll show some tips and tricks for making things expressive when we finish the neutral expression. You don't have to follow along if you are comfortable drawing faces. If you are not, follow along. We're going to start with eyes. This is going to be crash course, so eyes are going to land right on this line, this horizontal line. I'm going to draw in kind of almondy shape. The top of the lid goes above the line. Top of the lid goes above the line. I'm not doing the bottom yet. I want to make sure that I have some space on this side. If it's too wide over, it's not going to look natural and it's going to be hard to sculpt. I also want to have space between the eye and the center line as well. So kind of just a little arch over that middle line. Same thing on the other side. I always like to do both eyes at the same time. Otherwise you run into one eye being way wonkier than the other. Thank you. He's not here. Alright. For below the eye, so the bottom lid, it's not going to be as high up as the top lid. So I'm just kind of dipping just a little bit. Just a little bit below that line. Same thing on the other side. I make sure they're even. And I got some eyeballs. I'm going to erase what's inside the eye now so that I can draw the iris a lot easier. Whoops. There we go. For the iris, which is the color part of your eye, it's going to not be a full circle. So things people like to do, don't do this. People like to put the full circle in there. That's only going to show up in certain expressions. Or people do like really big. That's not quite right either. So what you want, I'm going to show this one first. What you want to have happen when you're drawing the iris is that the top part of the circle gets cut off by the top lid, and then it almost touches or barely touches that bottom lid. So I'm going to do it on the other side. So I'm curving it. Not too much of the white of the eye is showing, but not like none of it. It's a balance of positive, negative space. I'm going to do that one again because it's not the same. You want them to be roughly in the middle of the eye. as I draw, I constantly erase, I constantly fix. So the iris should land in the middle of the eye with some space around it. Last bit on the inside of the eye, we're not going to deal with pupils yet because some of you may do pupils, some of you may not, depending on the sculpture. Is the little meaty bit, which sounds weird, in the corner of our eye. So in the corners closest to the center is, and you would see this if you looked at people's eyeballs right now, a little bit of pink in the corner. That's the fleshy parts that are holding your eyeball in place so they don't fall out of your head. Isn't that fun? Because they're just spheres jiggling in our brains. Not in our brains. Yeah. We're all just meat puppets. We're getting existential this morning. All right, eyebrows. So eyebrows are going to be about the size of the eye above the eye. That sounds weird, but my eye is about this tall. So about that tall above it is where the eyebrow is going to go.
Can you put them higher?
Yes. So this is where the expression part is going to be super important. So here's just neutral eyebrows. They're just lines. I can make the eyebrows nice and thin. I can make eyebrows that are really thick. I can make small eyebrows. However you want to do the eyebrows. Your eyebrows on your mugs are the most important feature alongside the mouth to give that expression. So I'm going to erase those eyebrows and I'll show you what I mean. If I want it to look mad, I still have neutral eyes. If I angle those eyebrows down into the eye itself, now it looks mad. I don't have any other features. Neutral eyes. If I want it to look sad, angle eyebrows. If I want it to look happy. If I want it to look super judgy, so the face that I give a lot. Eyebrows are magical. They're going to carry most of your expression. I'm going to leave mine just kind of generic eyebrows again because I'm doing a neutral face. All right. We ready for a nose? All right. So noses are weird because we're looking at the mug face on. Most of the nose form, the mask on doesn't help. Most of the nose form sticks out from the side. You see it best from the side. It's easier to sculpt a nose than to draw a nose. That's what I feel at least. So on the side, I'm just going to quick show you how I draw noses, and then I'm going to show you the easy way how to draw noses. So I draw noses by breaking them down into shapes. The long bit of the nose being a long trapezoid. Underside bit of the nose being like a little bunny nose there. The nostrils come out. I put parentheses around them. And then I kind of keep that three-dimensional shape of the nose going from there. This is how I learned how to draw noses. It's really funky. So how we're going to draw noses, we are going to place the nose between the bottom half of the mug right in the middle. So from this line to the bottom, roughly in the middle. We are going to draw for our nose like a little curve, just a little tiny baby curve that then curves out like it has some handles that up. Or like it's a bull. Got a little horns there, and then we put parentheses around it. Giving yourself some space, don't close off the nose entirely. Boom, that's a nose. So again, that shape is like a weird long bowl with handles, and then parentheses. If you wanted to do anything extra to the nose, if you're feeling confident, I'm just gonna kind of erase some of that middle bit there. You can bring some lines down from the eyebrows if you want to give it a little bump. Have a little bump. But really for the drawing, that's the most important bit. Get rid of some more of these guidelines as our face is coming together. Yes. Close up on that nose. Again, it's this kind of shape. Little bowl with handles, parentheses around it. People are kind of wrapping up that nose now. We're going to move on to the mouth. The mouth, focal. The mouth, from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the mug, is about 1/3 of the way down, if you want to work in proportions. So 1/3 of the way down. I'm just putting a little dot there for now. So it's a little bit above that halfway mark. So the mouth is about 1/3 of the way down. So for the mouth, I always start with the opening of the mouth, the kind of just line that goes across. And the typical mouth shape, I'm going to do it off to the side, is pointy valley and then mountains to the side. So like two mountains sitting next to each other. So again, pointy valley, not too terribly pointy, just a little bit. And then mountains going off to the side. The mouth lines up with the center of the eyeball. So that's as far as you go for the mouth, to the center of the eyeball. Even if it feels like, wow, that's really long, it'll look right in a second. So the mouth lines go to the center of the eyeball. Whoops. That's just the opening bit, where we do our talking. The top lip. The top lip can come in a range of thicknesses. I'm going to do kind of in the middle, like average thickness on lip. It's going to start above your lip, same type of shape, not as severe. And then angle down into the corner of the mouth. So it starts above the lip, does the same shape, angles down to the corner of the mouth. If you want to do thicker lips, typically as the lip gets thicker, that pointy bit gets less and less pointy. So it ends up being a little bit more rounder. Still comes down to that point. Thinner lips, closer to the line, much more severe than the other two, and again, still down to those points. I'm gonna go with some thicker lips on mine, I think. The bottom lip. Bottom lip should be about the same thickness, about the same height as your top lip or more. Bottom lip's usually thicker, but I'm gonna do it roughly the same height, just putting a little line. And for the bottom lip, it actually stays kind of flat for a little bit longer. So I do just the slightest of curves, and then go to the corners. So it stays a little flat and then goes to the corners. The reason for that is because of the muscles in our lips that are used to actually make expressions to talk are situated there and there. The rest of it's just kind of the skin folding around it. I'm gonna make mine a little thinner. Again, these are thicker lips, so stick to the same proportions of whatever you're drawing. Almost done. Last little bit with the lips is right underneath is where the chin's gonna be. Some of your guys' designs, chins are gonna be important. Some of them, they're not gonna be. But we do wanna have that form there. Otherwise, it's gonna look weird. So I'm just putting a little mark to say, hey, there's a chin there. Just a little rounded mark like that. I get rid of the rest of my guidelines. So that's the requirements, are those facial features, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And again, eyebrows are where a lot of the expression lands. Some bonus things that you guys can do. Ears, I'm not going to show you how to draw an ear, but I am going to tell you that ears land between the eyebrow and the bottom of the nose. So you can do ears. If you do ears, make sure you're balancing out the mug handle as well. And again, this only has to be humanoid, so it can be something like an elf if you want to go something more fantastical. And if you need help with that kind of anatomy, just let me know. Hair. Hair could be really fun to add. With hair, you want to chunk it up. When we're sculpting, we're not going to do individual coils. That is a method technically, but it takes too long. So you chunk up hair. So let's say she's got curly hair. I would do one large chunk of curl. And then like another chunk of curl. As you guys design these today, you can do characters that exist as long as you are not copying directly the design from the internet. So if you find yourself trying to get like an anime character and it's got big anime hair, you'll only want to do like the bangs. Otherwise, you're dealing with stabbing yourself in the mouth. That's not fun. So that's neutral expression with some extra bonus stuff. You guys are going to focus on doing expressive faces. So I'm just going to show you a couple quick tips and tricks beyond just the eyebrows. You do not have to copy this at all because I'm going to go really fast. So again, mug handle, I can change up the handle. Same guidelines, all of that. You can do cartoony expressions as well, so I can do really large eyes if I wanted to. So I can play with that expressiveness. I can make those irises smaller. Maybe it is super surprised. That's where you would see the whole iris there. Eyebrows again, super important. Nose is going to typically stay the same no matter what you do. Mouth is another one where you can get a lot of expression. Could be something super cartoony. I don't know what that expression is. You can play around, especially if it's cartoony, where that mouth lies. You get rid of all of that. If you want to do specific like ages of a face, like you can do an older person. I'm gonna move like they're happy. The line underneath, I'm stretching, curving it more. They're gonna be kind of happy, but they're older, so they're gonna have some lines, some bags, some wrinkles. Maybe they're looking off to the side. The mouth would be lower because age drops our face. We get some lines by the nose. You really want to take a look at faces, at examples to really capture those different expressions. So you really want to play around, have fun, play with those eyebrows to get different expressions, different ideas. Mouth can be open as well. You can do teeth. That's good for mad faces. You don't have to worry about drawing every single tooth right now. So like you can just leave a mouth with kind of like, oh yeah, there's teeth there for sure. And deal with sculpting it later. That's about it. Other than that, I'm going to walk around and help you guys with specific expressions if you're having trouble. Make sure you have eyes, nose, mouth. It could be cartoon, it could be fictional, it could have other stuff on it. You can have things on the back. You can do whatever you want. 5 drawings, 5 designs.